I'll be doing a series of constant velocity problems. We will start with the first video. This is the first one. It's just the introduction. If we see an eye with a cap, it means 1 unit in the x direction. We call that an eye with a cap. The j with a cap is 1 unit in the y direction. If it's 3 units in the y direction, it will be 3j. Similarly, if it goes left, it will be negative I. If it goes down, it will be negative j. Let's look at a simple question. A boat is sailing with a velocity vector or VA. VA is a velocity vector. The unit is kilometers per hour. So this Cartesian that we're going to draw would represent kilometers per hour. It represents speed or velocity. So first we do the velocity. 4I plus 3j. And the resultant vector will be 4I plus 3j. The magnitude of this vector, the length of this vector, it will be 5 units. We know that from Pythagoras, 4 square plus 3 square is 5. Now, this magnitude of 5 represents the actual speed. Then the speed is in the same unit as the velocity vector. So the speed will be 5 kilometers per hour. Now let's enlarge this. If I take this magnitude, we know it's 5. And I know that this is 5. I know that this is 5 kilometers per hour. And if, say, we divide it by 5. So each length here, each segment here has a length of 1. Now we call that a unit vector. Its length is 1. Again, 1 means unit vector, 1 in the direction of 4x plus 5y. So when the velocity vector is divided by the magnitude, we get a unit vector. Okay. So unit vector, you take your velocity vector and you divide by your magnitude, or your speed, divide by your speed, and what do you get? You get 1 over 5, 4I plus 3j, and this is called your unit vector. Okay. Unit vector for boat A. Let's look at a similar example. Boat B is sailing 5I minus 12j, 5I minus 12j, and the resultant vector will be 5I minus 12j, and from Pythagoras, you know the magnitude of the vector resultant is 13, and therefore the speed is 13 kilometers per hour, and this is the speed, and the unit vector for boat B is 5I minus 12j divided by 13. The whole thing divided by 13. Now, to explain that a little bit more, so we had a unit vector for boat A that was 5 units. Now we redraw that to be just 1 unit. And we had the unit vector for boat B. We had 13 units. We draw that again to be 1 unit. And this is the unit vector. 1 unit in that direction. So the unit vector can be in any direction, depending on the velocity vector, can be in any direction as long as its length is 1. And it's a very useful tool. Why is it useful? Because there's a formula that depends on that. Let's take the unit vector of 4I plus 3j divided by 5. What happens if I multiply this by the speed of 5 kilometers per hour? You remember this has no units. If I multiply this by 5 kilometers per hour, the 5 and the 5 will cancel off, and I will be left with 4i plus 3j. 3j. And this is our initial velocity vector. Our initial velocity vector from the question was 4i plus 3j kilometers per hour. So we got one formula here. The speed multiplied by the unit vector of direction, we get the velocity vector.